Y'all know how I'm kicking it today, riding out. Oh man, this is actually why I sit down and write my rap verses. Well, basically when I record, I write my verses sitting down because it's so much harder. Not write my verses, but it's harder to come from the diaphragm when you're sitting down. So it helps you project your voice different. So from my ear, I always think my voice is deeper than what it is. It really ain't. But it just depends on what it is or how I feel different times of the day. Like my son James, his voice be fluctuating and changing all the time. And certain rappers got different voices or whatever, or different tones that they use. You know, that's how I really be like trying to fool with and change. I'm mixing and maneuvering while I'm out here riding. But it's gonna be a little bumpy. Maybe they'll be able to stabilize it once I put it through an app or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so I sit down and write a lot of my raps, a lot of my verses to songs, because it's harder to do it that way. So then it make it easier when I gotta perform or say it live or say it outright. And it makes it better when your stage presence. So it's like it stops you from running out of breath. And you know when you get washed and you start getting old, it's harder to say them verses. And I saw Busta Rhymes doing this Look At Me Now verse, and he was sitting down doing it. And you know how hard it was to spit that like that. Of course, when he changing cadences and he doing it, that's 2 bars. Then he come back with another 2 bars. Then he might hit you with 4 while he doing it. So what I learned from that was if I sit down, say my verses, that prevent me from yelling on every song. And I saw how they tried to drag Meek for years, saying he's still yelling or whatever. But they don't understand the era that Meek came up in was the era of battle rap. And you had to yell a little bit to get your point across. I grew up in the same era. I just was a little bit earlier than Meek. So one thing I learned about music or whatever is that when you find tone, it really changes the way that your verses come across to people or what people perceive of you when you rap it. So earlier, music, you could see a lot of that was coming because we was listening to the Lots, Mobb Deep, Jay-Z, DMX. We was listening to people who was really in the streets battling, and we was emulating the same thing that they was doing because we was out there doing the same thing, riding from east to west and all that. And I remember the first time I met Skarr, right? So we had a cookout, and he been looking for me for a whole summer, probably a whole year, because that's what he used to do. He used to ride the bus back and forth east to west, just looking for people to battle. And we run into each other. How you doing? Yeah. So, you know, we run into each other. He get to, you know, talking, and we just chopping it up, saying he like, you know, we like what each other be doing. And it built the friendship. But like I said, even on songs, even in a song, I think it's 1999, I admit that I lost the battle. But in my eyes, I don't really think I lost. But it's one of them like Jay-Z and DMX type things. You know, we both had times where one of us might have got the best of each other, but it was dope. And he came for me. I wasn't even prepared. I wasn't even in the right element. And that battle right there taught me to always be prepared at any given time for the battle. And he was ready for that joint. So I respect him off of that. That built a relationship with us as far as making music. Fast forward to 2000, we up Morgan, chopping it up on the bridge. I put him down, with somebody or whatever, and he was like, yo, come through your crib, we gonna write. I'm like, all right, cool. And come through the crib, you know, we write, we kick it, we end up doing a mixtape together. Then he come and he actually ended up linking up and doing a whole mixtape together. We did like a whole show, and then since I was doing one of the homecoming shows, I brought him out as a guest. People went crazy because this when he got the shit with Los. The block started. They got that video in Miami and all that. My man Carson had produced a joint called Hollering, right? So we bring him from out the back off of my man Zeke joint called Extra Extra. It's on the first album that we got called MVP Philosophy or whatever. He came out on that. The whole crowd went crazy. And we rocked it, and then we built that. Fast forward, 2001, I'm on my second album. We make this joint called, damn, I forget the name of it. But it's, you know the name, J. Pirro, still Skarr, Akbar, two of the illest. In the game, be the best by far. Catch this charge, I catch these bars. It's J and Skarr. The right to bear arms, put it in your squad. Yeah, that song, whatever, two of the illest. We make two of the illest. Derek cook up the beat. Put my verse on it. He come right back, put his verse on it. Then I come back with my 8 bars. He got his 8 bars, we done. Did the song in like probably 20 minutes. We never put it out the way we wanted to because, of course, back then it wasn't no iTunes, no Apple Music, none of that. So it got lost in the sauce, but it's out there. So I'll probably put it out for Throwback Thursday tomorrow. In the meantime, as I'm telling this story, I forgot about our legendary battle. It was in Heritage Lounge, which used to be Odell's. Got crazy in there. It's footage of it. I don't know where it's at. He might got some. Some of my homeboys might got some. We go bar for bar over Rock the Mic, acapellas. It just never ends until the clash. But it wasn't us. That was just, you know, some politics and all of that. So I don't even know how you want to score it. Can't say that it wasn't a great battle, but that right there solidified, you know, us being real, you know, respectful of each person's craft. So I'm just going back to that. And even to this day, even though we from two different neighborhoods not far from each other, we still represent a certain element of rap, a certain element from here. And we both got the same kind of like, you know, drive. His may be different. Definitely a super creative artist who can draw, probably paint, design, you know, make anything that he put his mind to. You know, I can do some of those things, but not all. And a lot of that stuff is self-taught or whatever, but I'm just kicking back today just to let y'all know that in all of this time, we remain friends, comrades in this music shit. And we both could have been on the same record label at the same time, same A&R, looking to scout us, and not just once, multiple times. So, you know, it's good to see my man still doing his thing. It's good to see that when I was in a funk, he got me motivated. I was listening to his shit, and it got me turned up. So whenever you feel like you're not inspired no more, and it make you feel like you can't do what you planned out to do, go find some inspiration. Or sometimes you just gotta get up off your ass and put yourself to work. It don't matter how long it take you. It don't matter if they find it in the archives years later. Your world deserves the art, and you owe it to the world to give it to your world. You never know, you might change somebody's perspective. You might change somebody's perspective on life. You might change their thought. They could be going through some tough times. They could be going through some shit that, you know, maybe you could pray about it. Maybe you feel like you can't. But in the meantime, what you want to do? You want to sit back, talk about it, whine, complain, or you want to do something about it? And as I get off my bike and I'm going up this hill, it's probably about a 800-foot incline. And everything that I'm doing is about the climb. The climb really was only supposed to be one mixtape after I dropped Conspiracy. But as you can see, we're in a 3-part series. And the way it is, for me, it's like Climb 1 was like my dynasty. You listen to it, I only had one verse on most songs that had features. And I didn't curse on the whole joint. Didn't plan for it that way. But I remember my homeboy Keon used to tell me, yeah, Lil Wayne don't curse, when we was younger. But at the time, he probably couldn't. His mom ain't probably want him doing that. But over time, content changed. He got better. And in the midst of it, I changed what I rap about. And I still feel like I owe my folks one of those albums that's inspirational, that you could just listen to with your mom, your grandma, you know, older folk. And most of my music is chill like that anyway. I don't really get too ratchet, but I don't want it to ever come across like how Drake is right now. Like, whereas though he having hella female issues, and it's like he angry at the world. He snapping on everybody, but he a light-skinned gangster, which is protected by his homeboys. They get paid to be goons, or whatever you want to call it. I ain't living like that. But it's different when you really grow up with the real goons and the real guys. And I remain myself, so I ain't never had to worry about none of that. Anybody, go do your research, go do your fact checks. You know who, then you know what, well, you know who. And let's keep that between me and you. And I'm just talking about all that fake tough guy stuff that these guys be doing. We ain't here for it. Just coming with the real facts, real rap, no cap. And everybody else, y'all need to relax. Just know that I'm right back. I'm coming for the planks. But in the meantime, y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday. It was cool kicking it with y'all on my bike ride. I'm back. I did it. First podcast on the bike, I guess. for the time.